of entertainment, current events, and Hollywood. Don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, I have an exciting episode, something different, but super exciting. My friend, Alex, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Please tell the audience a little bit about you and,
I am part of Gen Z, I will say, and I'm also from a little border town on the border of Texas. There's, we're so close to Mexico there. There's a part in our town where you can throw a rock and hit the old jail in Mexico. So and I also graduated early. I was 16 when I graduated, so
wow. That's a lot of pressure, like for a 16-year-old. Like you must have been studying your butt off. Or does it come natural? I don't know.
Well, academics really came natural to me, honestly. And all it was I just had to double up on all of my core classes. And sorry.
No,
and
you're good.
I should have, honestly, because I had done basketball the year before, right? And I was going to try out, but a lot of people were saying it was really going to be really hard to excel in all those classes, because my goal was to get A's in every single class that I had.
Ooh.
Because if like I messed up my grade, or my grade was below for a certain amount of time during the semester, it could be like they wouldn't let me graduate. I was so like scared I was just gonna not be able to walk the stage. And everybody was telling me that like I probably wasn't gonna walk the stage, or like I wasn't gonna make it. They'll see it. When they see it, they'll believe it. I was like, okay. So, but I honestly could have done basketball and tried out for it, because I made it a point to finish all of my work and all of my homework in class. We had like a block schedule, so like each class was like an hour and 30 minutes. So I had a lot of time to finish everything I could during that time, and kind of regret not playing basketball, but
we gotta do a little one-on-one. You said I got a little skill. I posted that video. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually was surprised. My brother played basketball, and I play around a little bit, but I spent so long, and
you've got good range, and you've got good ball handling skills and stuff. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to do a one-on-one.
Definitely. Well, we will make that happen. That'll be fun. I'm excited about that. No, so I love what you said. So little context a little bit for people listening. We met in Louisiana. I had like that film event there at the Robinson Film Theater there. That was amazing. And you were awesome. I mean, right away I saw you. I was like, ooh, who's that? You were just so fun. And then we just, vibed after, and just all the people were just great. But yeah, and then just when we were talking, I just kind of felt like, man. And then you told me your age. I was like, no way. like, no way. You're just kidding me. Like, there's no way. You're so young. And I was like, how do you have so much knowledge? Because, there's this like, maybe society pressures, maybe it's like this, stigma that society says, well, young people don't really know anything. They're all brats and they're this and they're that, they see the, the stereotypes. Yeah. But then I was like blown away of just how knowledgeable you were. And I was like, it just makes sense that, I would love to do a segment about Gen Zs. So you are the voice today for all the Gen Zs out there. I know it's a lot of pressure. But please tell me, like, do you feel like, and then I have a few other questions we're going to dive into, but just really, do you feel like Gen Zs and even your peers around you, like other Gen Zs, do you feel like it is the stereotype, or do you find that most of your colleagues are like, we're not all brats?
Well, I will say that before, everything that's going on in the world now, I feel as though like they were, like kind of just didn't know as much or didn't really care to know what was going on and stuff. And,
Mm.
that's fine. They were all like younger, I was already trying to graduate and get my life started and everything. So but I believe like now everybody's kind of like, especially my generation is like waking up a little bit and like, oh, well, we are the voice of America, the new generation that needs to, like play our part and do what needs to be done
Yeah,
because, the other generations aren't going to help us. And Gen, the one behind
I think
us, I
it's
don't know,
X. I think it's X.
no, Gen Alpha or whatever, the little
Whoa,
kids
there's
nowadays.
whew,
Yeah, like
sheesh.
now, I mean, they're not gonna help
Yeah.
us, right? They're little kids, and the
Yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
before us is also a little farther removed than we are and stuff.
Hmm.
So, I think now it's more like everybody's really like trying to get in on it and like, what's it called? Sorry,
Yeah, and you see what's
that
going on in the
inform
world. Like
themselves on
you
what's
wanna,
going on and being
yeah.
aware of the environment now today for sure.
Yeah, it's so crazy how, I'm in my 30s. God. Sounds really old. Sounds
Okay,
ancient, honestly.
it's not that old.
Thank you. Um, I just feel like it's I when I was in my 20s, I felt like I don't know, I was always so I kind of relate to you. I felt like I was always kind of way ahead of my time.
Yeah.
And I felt like I personally loved hanging out with older people. I just felt like
Yes.
they just had so much wisdom and knowledge to just give and pass on.
Yeah.
And I just saw things differently. And people my age were just like, like let's go
Yeah.
like and party, go for it, do you think? But just
Yeah.
doing weird things and crazy things that I'm just like, is this really fun? Like I really like
Yeah.
having a conversation and then a cup of coffee. I don't know. It's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I like all of my friends are literally in their 30s. Except for like my best friend and my two in my family, I grew up around a lot of cousins that were like my age. So, but we all like our parents really like, made sure we knew what was going on and educated us and how to view the world and how to do our own research and looking into stuff and everything like that. Don't take what people say as just face value, like look into
Yes.
it. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I totally get like, hanging out with people older than you because I just felt like kids my age, especially when I was in high school. I'd never been to a high school party while I was in high school, I'd never
Wow.
had a
Same.
boyfriend while I was in high school. And everybody was like, oh, we gotta go to this party. And oh my gosh, I got like five boyfriends going on. And I'm like, whoa, bro. And then on top of that, I feel like trying to graduate early really helped me stay focused. And, I
Yeah.
felt like all of that stuff was just a bunch of distractions and like I didn't need that in my life. It takes too much time and effort. And I was like, this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that focusedness. I feel like it's also mature. I think, and this is going to sound a little biased. I don't hate men, but I feel like men and women just are on different like time. Like I think women are by far, well, statistically speaking,
Yeah.
very further ahead. Kind
Yeah.
of know what they want more so than a man does, a little or
Yeah.
a boy. Before they're kind of like pretty focused, and then boys are just like, boys will be boys until a certain age, right? And then
Yeah.
like but I think that's too very, it speaks to your maturity level, and I think I just find that very very awesome and refreshing to see because you don't see that from, in this day and age. So I have a question, and as everyone knows, the political climate that we're in right now, and the with the elections and all that, and leading up to it, and then even just after all of the things that are happening, and just you see the social media posts, people are just like going absolutely crazy about
Oh
just
yeah.
there, and like and it's sad, like a lot of people don't feel like they can actually have a conversation and talk. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit of like
Yeah.
how And how do you feel, Gen Z, about the just the state of the world now? Do you feel, I guess, like it's the angst now? Like most people are just like how social media is like blowing it up, like run. Do you
Yeah.
feel that, or do you feel like that's just hype?
I do not feel like that. Honestly, I feel like that could too just be hype because the media, is trying to portray it that, oh, it's the worst thing in the world and all kinds of stuff. And they've been doing that for a long time, honestly. And everybody's so absorbed in technology that everybody's taking it at face value and they're like, oh God, yes, it's the worst thing in the world. And it's not, honestly. Like if people like looked into it and did the research and looked into the background of it, they'd really be like, oh, well, no, it's not the worst thing in the world. And so
Yeah.
I think that's how Gen Z is now, like I've seen a lot of people like posting stuff that people my age for sure that were like, oh, we voted for whoever and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
it's time to take back our generation and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I think that stuff like that is definitely overhyped, the freaking out and all kinds of stuff.
I mean, and I'm curious, what is the like, and I'm sure you've had people, you hear these discussions, but I think the biggest thing that keeps coming up, at least the conversation that I hear just from people telling me about how worried they are, they're talking about the reproduction rights and all that stuff, and women having, not being able to control their, bodies and have, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that's the biggest thing that I keep hearing. People keep saying, well, he's gonna make this not, gonna go away. And I'm just like, where do we read this? Like, where is this coming from? But it seems like a big universal thing. A lot of people feel
Yeah.
this way. And I'm just like, I never read anything about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I think
strange.
people are severely misinformed on that, honestly. I think they've been watching too much of the media, especially
Yeah.
the ones that are like, oh, it's terrible. They're taking your body away from you, basically. And that's really not what's happening. Like when they overturned Roe versus Wade, that just really gave, the law for abortion bans or rights or whatever to the states, it gave the states the opportunity to do what they want to do with that ban. But then again, you also put those people like your governor in office and you put the people you elect in office. So, you're the one that put them there and maybe not you specifically, but majority of people see that, they've been severely misinformed. And
Yes.
like, like where I'm from Texas, and the
Texas.
abortion law and the abortion law in 2021 was the Heartbeat Act, right? And usually the heartbeat comes on like 6 months into pregnancy and stuff like that. So after that, they can't abort the baby unless, medical problems arise, right? And then they did a total ban of abortion for
Mhm.
Texas, and everybody's saying that, like, oh my gosh, you can't abort at all, even if it's a life-threatening problem. But in the law, it states, like, except for extenuating circumstances. So it doesn't, broaden what those
Mhm.
extenuating circumstances are. It just
Right.
says extenuating circumstances. So,
Yeah.
obviously that would be like life-threatening stuff.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that sometimes, well, I think in general, I think people are using abortion more or less as a birth control, and it should not be
Hmm.
used as that.
Yeah.
And, I also feel like if you make a decision to have sex, that is your consequence that you have to bear. That is the risk. The risk to having sex, and that is what you need to do. And that's the consequence of having sex. And like, if you don't
Right.
want that consequence, you can be celibate. There's
Yes.
birth control, there's condoms, there's
Right.
plan B right afterwards. There's so much contraception, preventatives and stuff like that, that you
Absolutely.
don't need abortion as birth control. And then sometimes that stuff doesn't work, and that's okay. Me personally, I think children are God's gift to you, right? Yeah, that's how I feel about it. So,
Same.
if, all that stuff didn't work, then this is your little miracle, right? But I know that other people don't feel that way, and that's okay. And like I said, it's just honestly, I think people are using it as birth control, and people don't
Yeah.
understand the rights that they have. And people don't understand why Roe versus Wade was overturned and stuff. And, I think people really need to look into that. And it's not as big as everybody thinks it is.
Hmm.
And that's Trump's definitely not trying to take that away because
Right.
he can't because the state
Right.
now controls those abortion laws.
Right. Right. And no, and that this is, and you said something that very key. Uh, there's, I think people kind of get caught up in like the president, right? But then, right,
Yeah.
there's governors, there's other
Yeah.
people that are on those
Yeah.
ballots that we need to know what their laws are, what they stand for, and that's just as important as the
Yes.
president. And I think a lot of times because social media just throws these like two Republicans,
Yes.
Democrats versus, it's like a
Yeah.
freaking match or something. Everyone's like, watching a football game, like, yeah, just betting on this
Yeah.
person. Is just like, yo, guys, like
Yes.
this is the most important thing too, because it's going to affect like what's happening in your neighborhoods, what's happening in in the county. Like it actually means a lot. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you the time that, I mean, like just so many conversations, people that they're like, I don't know about those. I'm like, I am very scared for you. Like I'm scared that
Yeah.
if people don't know that part, then they're going to be like complaining about, oh, it's the Republican, or it's the Democrats, it's their fault. And it's like, no, we
Yes.
actually have the power to vote these people in as well.
Yes.
So that's
Exactly.
just important. So thank you for sharing that. That's a good reminder. So I'm curious of this question, because I feel like a lot of people feel differently about it. But a woman leading the country, and I feel like there's a bunch of people that were super ready, they're like, yeah, Kamala, and just like, or just a woman leading the country, period, in America. That's never been done
Yeah.
before. I'm not against it, but I feel like for me, I personally, this is my personal opinion, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm neither going to say who I voted for at all, because I think that's everybody's right to have that. That's your right to keep that
Yeah.
to yourself. I personally feel like a woman could, and there's been women that led and been presidents in other countries. I even read about, but just not here in America. But because I don't think it's not the fact that it's not, people aren't ready for it. I think that people just, I feel like it has to be a strong woman,
Hmm.
and someone who's really wants to get the job done, who's not a puppet. That's someone
Yes.
who's gonna like come in and really change the game, and really,
Yeah.
because I felt like this term, I think what kind of made people kind of, and I don't know, what do you feel? Do you feel like a lot of Kamala, because she had a lot of celebrities backing her up, it kind of hurt her in a way?
I think Kamala in general not being informed on the people, how the people felt in general, what was going on in
Hmm.
the world, how to fix it, and
Yeah.
honestly, like pandering to women and saying, oh, well, she was gonna, do all this stuff for us. And like, what stuff is she gonna do? We already have all the rights that we have, and the rights that, like, we're equal, basically,
Right.
what I'm saying? So like, what do you mean she's gonna do that? It's already there.
Right.
Right. And then on top of all the celebrities backing her, I think it was very obvious that they were
Yeah.
really paid to do it.
I
Honestly,
mean, I
off
think
of it.
everybody was like,
I'm sure there's some celebrities that weren't,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
and but it was obvious that, she was losing, and she was trying to get backing for celebrities to help her win, and it
Hmm.
just did not work because it was so obvious.
Yeah.
And, regardless if she's a woman, I mean, there could be a woman president, a man president, black, white, Asian, Native American, I don't care. As long as they have the merits to be there, they have the policies that need to be inputted or implemented to
Hmm.
make America great.
Hmm.
And if they love our country, because every American should love our country, then that's what matters.
All right.
their merit and their love for our country and the love for the American people, because they are put into office to serve American people. And that is why we vote them in, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that is why Kamala probably did not win, because people did not think that she was going to serve the American people.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I think, yeah, I agree. I think a lot of it, because I've been hearing a lot of different things. Like for me personally, I mean, if Michelle Obama ran, I mean, I would have been like, let's go, because I think Michelle is just great. I met her, and I thought she's just, I don't know, just thought she was just an amazing woman and has amazing ideas and things that she stands for. But um yeah, I think that people just wasn't ready. I felt like the timing wasn't right. And I don't think I think to run a country is a big deal. I mean, the pressure, I can't imagine that comes with all
Yeah.
that, but that's interesting that you feel that way in your generation. Do you feel like your generation even cares about what goes on in the country?
I think I think
Probably
they
not.
really do, because I know that this is yeah, because everybody I graduated with was still older than me, but not by much. But I think this is probably the first time everybody in my generation has voted, honestly. Like they were
Wow.
18 during the 2020 election and stuff. But I don't think anybody really cared during that time or felt, like,
Yeah.
oh, we need to get out there and vote because the fate of America rests in our hands. I think
Yeah.
now that is how they felt now. And they went out there to vote for the first time, probably ever, than they have ever voted, because, they were barely 18 in 2020.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Like I feel like sometimes society always does that thing. Every time it gets close to elections, whether it was Obama coming in or Biden or whoever, Al Gore, all the things. Um, I feel like it there's always this is the most important thing in the most
Yeah.
important time in history. If you don't vote, you know,
Yeah.
the life depends on you. And it feels like, I don't know, it feels like sometimes a gimmick a little bit. Like I wonder if ever is it possible that the people can take the power back and say, no, we're not going to vote. I don't think that's ever been done. But because of,
It's probably never ever been conceived by people to really try to do that. But like the Constitution states that we, the people, are in charge of our country, really. We're the ones that put them there. We're the ones that
yeah.
vote for that. We're the ones that put in that we should vote for governors as well. And honestly, like even in the Constitution, it states that the
Hmm.
military is there to protect from domestic and foreign, uh, what's the word? From domestic and foreign terrorists, basically, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
domestic would be in our country, right? So
Right.
we could pander to the military, probably the human population, really, and they would protect us from domestic terrorists, correct?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
could protect us from the uh president per
Hmm.
se, right? That's what the Constitution says. So I think that the people really should have all the power. And I know that the elitists out there, whatever, are really like in charge of stuff like that, and how the media works its will on people, and how the media
Yeah.
tries to brainwash people into thinking, oh, well, these people, you can't put them here, like, and stuff like that. They're in control of all of this stuff. When,
Yeah. Yeah.
if the people really just came up about it and really looked into it, they'd be like, wow, we actually have all the power.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like, and sometimes I wonder, and I'm always thinking from a filmmaker's point of perspective, like, ooh, what if we rewrite the narrative and we take, what would that look like? But obviously that will never happen because I think uh people are controlled to a sense, or maybe most people want control.
Yeah.
Maybe they say they want freedom, but that's why we elect someone because we can't seem to run ourselves. I don't know. It probably wouldn't be a good thing if we did. I don't know. That's just
Yeah.
me.
Maybe chaos would ensue. You never know.
Yeah, right, right, right. Um, so well, see, this is, let's see, well, how many minutes we have left? Well, we have a few minutes left, but are you cool with doing like one more of these? a few
Yeah.
minute
Oh yeah,
timeline? Okay,
definitely.
and we'll be done. Okay, cool. Um, so I have a fun question, and there's no wrong answer, but I love asking this question. And just curious what your answer is going to be. I think I know, but I could be completely wrong. But the three levels of influence: money, power, and respect. And if you could choose only one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
I would probably choose respect, honestly,
Okay.
because that I think Donald Trump is a great example of the respect. He has power and he has money, yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But everybody was already trying to be like, oh, well, he can't be president because of this, and that, right? And I think he really won, or I guess, right? I mean, it's the 11th, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
president, so the election was over and all kinds of stuff. But so he won, and it's more because of the respect, like all of the
Mm,
power that the media had over us that are some paid, all of them are pretty much paid for, right? And
yeah,
they were painting him as bad and terrible, and he's going to take away women's rights and all kinds of stuff, but he still won, right? Because of
right.
the country's respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
He has money, yes, but he is a billionaire. He has so much assets and everything. And he's however old too. And he's running
I
for
think it's like
president,
70
getting,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was born in 46. So he
Mm-hmm.
should be 77. And
Yeah.
uh and like he's probably tired and everybody's hating on him, for running for the country and stuff, but he's got the respect of the American people because he loves our country, and
Mm-hmm.
we the people love our country, or we should anyways, like try to make it better and everything. So
Yeah.
I think respect is a very important aspect. It doesn't matter how much power or money you have. If people don't have the respect of you, they're going to paint you the villain either way.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
So,
and I think that's a great answer. It's a great answer. Yeah, I really feel like uh with him, and it's like I this narrative of like they keep saying, oh, he's racist, and I'm just like,
yeah.
isn't he married to, isn't his wife like not from here?
She's Syrian, I believe. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, and then even when he was president, before 2020, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
unemployment rate was 3.5%, the lowest it had ever been in 1969. And a lot of that was because
Wow.
he gave jobs to minorities. Like he brought back 6.7 million jobs during that time. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of minorities got those jobs. Like the unemployment rate for minorities was at its lowest it had ever been, I think. I'm not really sure. I did a speech on him
I'm pretty
like
sure it
years
was. I'm
ago.
pretty sure.
So yeah. So, people saying that he's racist, I just really don't believe it because, all of those statistics and like he's done a lot of things. Like he's gone out and changed someone's tire before and then paid off their
Yeah.
house and stuff. Like
Yeah, the
he's
things that
a
we
man for
don't
the
see.
people. I think more or less, like I think that's why everybody respects him and believes in him and put him in office because he's a man for the people. He
Yeah.
works for us, not against us.
Right. And I think that's the thing is like a lot of people get caught up in the what like just certain bits. Like I think Candace Owens was talking about it. Like a lot of his clips you can take from even when back in the day. They're like, oh, when he was back in the day, when he was doing The Apprentice, he's a playboy. People have past. Everyone has a past. I don't think
Yeah.
I always say Republicans, Democrats, they all have
Hmm.
skeletons in their closet. No one
Yeah.
is, there's never going to be a president, man or woman, that is completely clean.
Yeah.
If they are, that's there's something going on. There's something wrong.
Yeah. It's a
You
little
know?
suspicious.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. So yeah.